Just jump.
Hey everybody.
What's up, everybody? Okay, I didn't do fancy intro or fancy outro on this because me and Erin are just coming into play. This is not an official episode. This is because it is a full moon eclipse in Sagittarius. Is that right? Did I get that right?
I believe so. I think there's also, people are calling it the blood moon, the flower moon. I believe it happened this morning. I missed it. It was too early for me.
Yeah, it was like 4:30 in the morning Pacific.
Yes. I saw pictures. It looked incredible for sure.
And someone else said that this is like the closest that the moon gets to the Earth all year.
I heard that too. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Get outside.
So let me introduce you guys to Erin. She's a friend, she's a client, she's a mystic, she is an incredible intuitive, and she's also who reads tarot for me every month because I really love having readings done for me. So it's always really fun when I get to come play with Erin. And to be honest, I get a little nervous reading in front of her because she's like one of my mentors in this space. So it's funny because, you know, I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll be like, can you help me with this card? What does it mean? I will try not to do that. But by the way, Erin, you are welcome to chime in with any insights on my cards that you maybe see that I don't.
Please. Thank you. And same goes for you on mine. Cool. I think we all need like another set of eyes to look on things at sometimes.
Oh, so good. Let us know if you're here live. Let us say hello. And what we're going to do is actually a card spread that is designed. Who is this? Is at Wild Soul Healing on Instagram, posted an Eclipse portal tarot spread that we're going to be using tonight. Do you want to tell them about that, Erin?
Absolutely. And speaking of mentors, I think that the person behind Wild Soul Healing, I consider her a mentor, even though I've never spoken to her, but she has an incredible podcast, tons of episodes. I like to put them on like 2 times speed so I can listen to them fast. And her name is Lindsay Mack. And I love her. I love Lindsay's approach to the tarot. She sees each card as like medicine, and each card is a tool for us to go deeper into our own reflection. And there's a lot of care and a lot of responsibility. I feel like she does a great job at being ethical with her practice. So definitely check her out if you're interested in learning more, because she's someone that I definitely learn from.
So cool. I can't wait. I've always enjoyed the resources that you send my way. Okay, well, let's dive in, I think. Unless, do you want to say anything else? Like, obviously, I want you guys to follow Erin. She's going to be a guest on the show while I'm away, so that'll air next week. But follow her at innerwisdom.mentor on Instagram. And at the end, we'll talk a little bit about your Patreon, too, because I would love for you to have some other people in that community along with me. I really love getting my reading from you every month. It's so fun. So, and I think you're also teaching about the tarot in a really unique and beautiful way in there as well. So
thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on. It's so fun, and I've learned from you, and I'm just really humbled, honored to be here.
Woo, and excited.
Yeah. Okay. I will say, like, getting into this, you don't have to do this. Like, you can come to the cards however you want to, but before this, like, making a sacred moment is important to me sometimes, and just reminding ourselves that like any moment can be sacred if you remember that it is, and taking any like deep breaths if you want to, or getting like a journal out and writing down some things that really resonate with you. That's like the whole beauty of this, and that's why I love the tarot so much. It's like, hi. It can just it can be different for every single person that's listening to it. So definitely unpack it with your own discernment and your own wisdom.
Actually, Erin, would you mind, if you wouldn't mind, maybe leading us through a little bit of a grounding practice before we jump in? And I'm going to create the banners for this so people can follow along with our questions.
Absolutely. My 2 favorite ways to kind of like bring myself into a different space or a different moment are to use smoke and sound. And I like, sometimes if I just have a candle around, I'll light that. So using fire, but often I'll use incense, and I did that before. I just like to imagine that the smoke from the incense is kind of just like moving through the air in the room and kind of clearing out certain things. Where I'm sitting right now is like where I do my work for the day as well. So anything that you can do to like create a new space for yourself. And sound is also important to me. Sometimes playing a song that I like, or I have a little singing bowl here, or even just like humming a certain note or humming a song to yourself can help. Like I feel like it just helps me really get into that sacred idea. But for everybody that's here, if you want to, hopefully you're like seated somewhere where you feel comfortable. If you've had a long day, just take a moment to like breathe and feel what it feels like to be in your body again. And if you haven't had a long day, awesome for you. This should be super easy to get grounded. You can feel, if you are seated, if you're like driving or something, then maybe don't do this. But if you are seated, you can close your eyes and start to feel what it feels like to have your, like the backs of your legs and your sit bones on the chair. Maybe notice what the temperature of the room feels like. Maybe feel what it feels like if your feet are flat on the ground, what it feels like to have the soles of your feet touching the ground. Maybe check in with your jaw or your neck or your shoulders to see if there's any tension there. It's a common space where we hold tension. And a really quick like breathing exercise I like to do is just to breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. And if I can make my exhale longer than my inhale, that's kind of a natural strategy to calm ourselves. So we can do a few breaths like that together. So breathing in through your nose, holding it at the top for a second, and then making the exhale longer than the inhale. So breathing out. And there's tons of visualizations you can do, like breathing in gratitude for this day, holding it at the top, and then exhaling maybe anything that you don't want to hold on to anymore. And you can do as many of those as you want to ground yourself. Breathing in through your nose, holding at the top, and then exhaling through your mouth. A good visualization for the exhale is to pretend like you're blowing out birthday candles so you really get the air going out. But yeah, feel free to take any more of those grounding breaths. And I'm trying to reclaim prayer too. Like I don't practice any religion, but I think that prayers are important in community spaces. So if it's okay, I'd like to lead in a prayer or an intention. You can call it an intention, that this time together is for the greatest good, for the highest and the best of everyone who is involved, and that we are that our minds are relaxed enough that we can access some information that's going to be helpful to us. And I also hope that this is a fun time where we can experience some joy together and community and lots of love. And thanks again for everyone that's here. I'm grateful for you to be in this space. And may it be this or better. So it is.
And so it is.
That's with the smoke. Awesome.
Yeah, you just reminded me that I work on this computer all day, and right here at this workstation, I work all the time.
Yes.
And our technology carries energy as well. Like this is everyone I've talked to today in the last few days over this. Give a nice little cleanse to your space. This transfers over to you too. It's the
hair.
Yeah, energy does not conform to space and time, friends. So whenever you're getting this message, it's right for you. And may you be cleansed by my smoke. It's non-local. All right.
Thanks for allowing me to do that.
I loved it. Are you kidding? That was beautiful. And I 100% agree with the power of prayer and not needing it to be attached to any certain dogma to be effective. All right, so let's dive in, shall we? We're going to each pull a card for the same questions and go back and forth a bit. So the first one is the medicine that this eclipse portal has for me, or for you in this case.
Incredible. And people get scared of the eclipse. I feel like there's like a lot of scared energy that goes around with it, but I feel like it can be just a time where we're looking at things that have not been illuminated for a long time. So have no fear. We'll get through this. We'll have fun. And
Also, by the way, stick around at the end. If we have a few minutes, we'll pull some cards individually. Maybe like 2 or 3.
Absolutely. I can go first for this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. The medicine this Eclipse portal has for me, we have the 5 of Pentacles coming up, which is, there's not a whole lot of warm, fuzzy vibes with this one. It's 2 people that are out in the snow. But something that I heard recently about this card is that the invitation here is to come home, is to return to your home, return to the warmth, because if you can see, there's like a stained glass window behind them, signifying that there's probably a warm church or like a religious building that's here that will welcome them in as long as they choose to come back to that. So maybe that's the medicine that this season has. How do we come back home to ourselves?
Oh, it's so beautiful. I recently pulled that card in the Muse Tarot deck, and it has the entrance of a theater with like big lights, and then the person is like kind of collapsed outside the door, and the message was like, if you only knew how close you were to making it.
I'm getting
yeah, you're so close, don't stop, like you're so close to home. And so many people give up before they make it home without realizing that a few more yards and they would be where they needed to be.
Yeah, it's safe.
Let's see what I got for this one. Ooh, I got pleasure. So, yeah, look at all the electricity in the heart space. This is from the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I figured we'd start us out on that moon vibe. We've also got these beautiful butterflies here. Pardon my crappy manicure. These are transformation. The butterfly always represents transition, transformation. And what I take from this card is when you can like lead from the heart, when you can open the heart, and let pleasure be your guide forward, that, you know, returning to yourself, returning home, like we were just talking about, is becomes much easier. It's like that journey doesn't have to be so weary. It doesn't have to be so hard. It's all, you're always going to have challenge, but when you seek pleasure before anything else, really, when you let pleasure and warmth in your heart and love guide you, life just gets sweeter. It's just easier.
Man, I love that. And I love that you were like talking about the postures, because yeah, if you look at the postures in this card, it's very different than your card, like being just completely pulled forward like a string is pulling.
And they're very closed in the heart. So it's like these travelers are weary. They've forgotten to let that love lead them home.
Wow.
So good.
This is beautiful. I just want to pat ourselves on the back.
Good idea, Erin. This is a good idea. Okay. Should we move on to the next card?
Let's do it.
All right. What will the eclipse invite me to learn? Sorry for the typo. Release and lay to the fire. I find that imagery so freaking powerful.
And that's it. Yeah. Fire. Sagittarius, right? You're Sag.
So I am, and this is a Sagittarius moon. And also the full moon is always a good time for fire rituals, like burning, letting go. So this is, what are we letting go of?
I like it. Do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. I used the traditional deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith. Oh, this one might just be for me. We pulled the Ace of Wands in reverse. And when I see this card, it's like divine inspiration, right? If we look upright, it's like, here, have this beautiful idea. And look, have all of these ideas. Like this wand has all these little budding leaves, and you could turn any of them into a big plant of brilliant work. And yeah, it's divine inspiration. It's just like, pop, like, look, I've got something amazing for you, all these ideas. And so I think, you know, as I'm resonating with this card personally, I'll just speak for that, which the message I get for this is to release the idea that you don't know what you're doing, or that like you have to cling to one idea so tightly that you let all the other ones kind of disappear, and you're like, I have no inspiration, I don't know what to do. And it's like, dude, I've been telling you what, like, there's all kinds of inspiration, you're just not getting it, you're not open to receiving it.
Yes, I love that you said all of that, because I immediately was looking at that last card, like the crutches are made out of wood that look just like that wand. So it's like, you don't need the crutches. like you needed them for a while, but that's what you just said about the Ace of Wands really reminds me of that. Like you got it.
Yeah.
You got
Is there
this.
any other insight that comes through for you on this card?
I love what you said. I'm gonna pull mine and see if there's any connections between the two. I just did Rider-Waite-Smith for all of them. I have the Three of Swords.
Stop it. That's always my what I need to lay on the fire card.
So yeah, what do I need to learn, release, lay on the fire? I love tarot because the images just speak for themselves. A lot of people will say like our brains speak in images and not so much in words or sounds, but the images just make so much sense. So I'm sure you could map your own thoughts onto what this card might mean. I will point out a lot of the times people will say that like the swords represent like painful words that other people have said for the Three of Swords card. But I get a feeling of just like the things that we say to ourselves too, our own self-talk. That has been coming up for me a lot lately. And the swords can also represent our like our neurochemistry. That's something that Lindsay Mack at Wild Soul Healing will say a lot. Like it represents how the chemicals in our brain interact with each other through certain things. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like what can these three...
It's like the depression card.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
I always see that as the heartbreak card. It's like, for me, it's like it's time to take the swords out and let the wounds heal. It's like, let's heal the past instead of walking around pretending like these swords don't hurt.
Yeah, they're just sitting there. You're just like, oh, I'm good.
My heart can beat around them.
Yeah. So maybe the denial needs to be released and laid to the fire. Yeah, I love that. And I love that validation, like you're saying, like validate that this is painful and you can feel emotions. It's okay. Like you're not going to be weak if you feel those emotions, or if the idea of three swords being your heart is painful, like that makes sense. That is totally acceptable.
I love the rain cloud in that card too, because it's like, it's sort of like, you see those characters with the cloud that follows them everywhere. And it's like, well, yeah, as long as you've got these heart stabbing wounds that you don't tend to, of course you're going to have like this gloomy outlook on life. But above every rain cloud is this wide open sky full of sun. The sun never disappears. It's just obscured. So for me, this is like lay those old wounds to rest and move forward with a healing hand.
Yeah, something that's coming up to me. We just taught the water cycle I'm a 7th grade math and science teacher. So we just taught the water cycle, and clouds are just gas that has collected, gas, H2O, water vapor that has collected over a long period of time until it becomes too heavy and then it needs to rain down, right? So interesting stuff.
So good. Okay. Lynn says, my moon is in Sagittarius. What are your other signs? What is everybody's signs here?
Tell us.
All right.
I'm still learning all of that.
The moon, Erin, the moon is like is that how you are in private? How you are to yourself? What are the sun, moon, and rising again?
Good question. Off the top of my head, I think that the rising, that's the one that I focus on the most. Rising is like your personality or your identity. And or I don't know. I've heard so many different things. That's how I interpret it for sure.
I know. I always want to explain these things, but I'm not really all that deep in astrology. In fact, I'm
exactly
beginning my tarot journey. So it's like so much. And then it's like human design and numerology.
Oh my gosh.
It could be endless. And I hope it is, because I really enjoy this stuff. Okay. So our next question, or our next position in this reading, is what will the eclipse invite me to acknowledge, honor, and integrate? Oh, this has been such a theme in my coaching program. We're trying to integrate all of our shadow pieces. We're starting to learn to love our whole selves, not just the pretty shiny parts that we think are acceptable. So what'd you get for what will the eclipses invite me to acknowledge, honor, and integrate?
Oh, 8 of Cups. Man, my first thoughts with this card are this is making a conscious choice of walking away from something that is not complete. it's almost that phrase, like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, comes up to my mind. Cups can represent emotions. Cups can represent like the element of water, which is the subconscious. So this could even be like feeling into your body in certain things, and how can we integrate and honor and acknowledge the gut feelings that we have, the goosebumps that we get, the raising the hair on the back of your neck, raising in certain times. Like, how can we acknowledge, honor, and integrate those things? Which maybe I'm just biased because that's what I like to focus on with everything.
I know. Well, that card's got the moon in it, and the moon is often a symbol of intuition, yes? And water is also cups. This is our emotions, our beneath the surface, our subconscious. And I agree that when we start to acknowledge and honor those signals from our body, then we have this truth flowing through us that maybe we're not even aware of. And all of a sudden you look around at those cups and you're like, what am I even doing? I'm gonna go this way now.
Yeah.
I think our intuition, when we really learn to honor it, those kinds of decisions become much easier because we're making them from that inner wisdom, not from the mind entirely.
Yeah.
So I got focus on the light, and this is this beautiful sunflower, and it's kind of got, it looks like an eyeball, like an iris, and then it's like these pine trees and clouds, and she's holding this here, which I think this speaks a lot to the integration piece too. It's like as you're bringing all of these parts of yourself together, as you're acknowledging the shadow that the moon illuminates, as you're starting to hear what your body has to say to you, you might not always like what the truths are that you uncover. But when you can just have that singular focus on what's going well, how everything is in this circle, this cycle, there's this life cycle in this card, right? It's like you were talking about, the condensation of the clouds turns to rain, which waters the ground and brings the plants, and the sun gives the nourishment and, the energy for all of this stuff to happen, and all of it belongs. So it's like, rather than ignoring the dark, we're accepting the dark, but also you can still put some blinders on and focus on what's going right. And integrating the dark doesn't mean you have to go live there.
Dang, you're good.
Thanks, babe.
I love that you said cycles. That was what came up to my mind too. Like, the sun and the moon both go through very predictable cycles, and they both go into periods of darkness, and that can be scary, like you said, but just focus on the fact that it'll come back. Just like the cycle. Wow. I love this.
I know, we should do this all the time.
We should, yes.
Oh, let's make bookkeeping fun. Okay,
the next one.
Let's pull a card about how we can make bookkeeping fun. No, sorry guys, that was from my vocal CEO training the other day.
Incredible.
But I mean, honestly, that's funny that popped up there, because as I'm looking at my spread here, it's like pleasure, and then, seeking inspiration in the divine, and then focusing on the light. And as I apply that to bookkeeping, it's like, it's not so bad. If you can make it a pleasurable experience and understand that it's neutral. Okay.
And you're getting money, so focus on the light. Sure.
Well, and money is much like this energy, right? Money is neutral. Money is divine. Money is energy. And there's a ton of it to be had. But if you're focusing on what that one rigid idea, then the money's not flowing, baby. Okay, absolutely. Back on track. How can I surrender to the flow of the eclipse portal? Oh, surrender.
Surrender.
Oh, surrender.
That first card that you pulled reminds me of this.
Yeah, it is it's surrendered in that, like, I've been doing a lot of yoga again lately, and one of my favorite postures are these like heart opening, because when I am here, I am actually like in reverence. Like this is prayer to me, just opening up and tilting my head back, and like it's like broadcasting and receiving at the same time. And it's like when we take those poses where you like stretch back, to me it's like lifting my heart to the divine, and it feels so beautiful. So I love that card that we pulled. All right, so I actually pulled 2 cards for how can I surrender to the flow of the eclipse portal. This is from the Sound Your Voice deck by Judith Quinn. Judith is a vocal sound healer. She reads sounding meditations, and I adore her. She's over in Ireland, I think. So we got 2, lots of green, lots of heart energy. Speaking of that open heart.
Nice.
And I think I pulled energize first, which is change your energy state. So this is like, using your breath, using maybe movement to help surrender anything that might be stuck in the body and reconnect with the divine. And then I also got celestial support. Let the angels lift you up.
Wow.
So in this one, you see, it's like kind of, I like this image a lot because it almost looks like the ocean to me, or like even maybe like a satellite view of the ocean, but there's all these like little hot spots, and it's like there's energy all around in little pockets. And if you get into the right one, you're gonna be in that hot energy spot. So it's like if you can use your breath and your motion and your body to move through some of what needs to be surrendered, then you're going to maybe end up in one of these pockets of energy. And those being orange and red, I feel like heal our earthly low chakra problems. Our human problems can be healed with the divine.
Yes. I love all of that. That's like reminding me of that. Just make it home. Just make it those next few steps. And now I'm thinking like make the conscious decision to take those last few steps, those last few yards to get there to those hot spots, like you said in that card. That was really cool.
Oh, so good.
You're gonna love this. The star. My favorite card. How can I surrender to the flow of the eclipse portal? This almost has it. That openness. Yeah. There's lots flowing. I love that the person in this card is out in nature, away from everything. And I feel like nature can be very healing. So when you're talking about change your energy, just changing your scenery might be the thing that can help you do that for sure. And then I'm thinking that last card that you just pulled too, of like focus on the light, like the star card that comes through the major arcana is directly after like death, tower, destruction, everything falls to pieces. And then the star card is the next one. And it's a really faint light in the night. And it's not so strong, but it is something that can still give comfort, because the stars actually never go away. Like the moon and the sun move so often, but the stars are always there. We just can't see them when there's so much light. But how can I surrender to it? So the star always reminds me of healing. That's all I can say. Intentional healing. And I'm feeling that I don't always get words that come to my mind. A lot of times I get feelings in my body, and I can just feel my body like expanding, like you're saying with the heart, like stretch. I'm just feeling a lot of like relaxation, not giving up, but yeah, surrender. Surrender is the word.
Surrender. It's funny because we think in the Western culture that giving up is like really bad. And in fact, we even just reinforce that a little bit with that card of like, don't give up, you're so close to home.
Yeah.
But sometimes to find the strength to take those last few steps, you have to give up something that's weighing you down. You have to give up something that's holding you back or slowing you down. Yeah. It's like if you just put down the bag of rocks you're carrying, you'll make it. You'll find the last bit of strength.
Gosh, yes. Like, and that like rigid self-reliance, like I'm going to do this all on my own. It's when we can surrender and realize there's something greater than us outside of us that we can rely on, whether for you, it's your community that you rely on, you lean on, your family, your friends, music, art, whatever it is. Like You don't have to do it alone. Not at all.
Oh man, that feels nice to hear. Okay. The next last spread here is, what is the eclipse season preparing and readying me for?
I can go first. Judgment card. Dang. It's funny because if you go to Wild Soul Healing and you look at the description, that said that this eclipse has like Tower energy and Judgment energy. And most people who have done this spread, this card has popped up, either Tower or Judgment. This one, to me, the phrase that comes to mind always with this card is answer the call. Like there has been a call it started out as a whisper for you, and it's gotten a little bit louder. And the Judgment card is when finally, like, you can't ignore it anymore. You cannot ignore what that is. So perhaps this eclipse season, what we're laying on the fire, what we're learning and integrating, like those things had to become in order and aligned before you could finally like listen to that little, what started as a whisper and it is now like a bugle, like an angel on a mountaintop coming from the sky, bugling it. Like you won't be able to ignore it. And yeah, maybe the timing was just right. Like you needed to have this last little push to integrate and to release.
All right. We are using the Muse Tarot deck here, and we pulled the star.
Yes.
So
Double star.
She's a little different. I mean, this artwork on this deck is beautiful. She is holding like a star in her hands. She's got a big like aura coming out of her third eye and crown chakra. She is wearing a crown as well, like a flower crown. So kind of that royalty. And then, yeah, the water is kind of creeping up here. But for me, this is like that North Star guidance. It's preparing you, like what you had just said about that card, that calling that maybe you've been kind of ignoring, that little tug that you've been getting in your heartstrings or in your gut. And you're like, that's not me. I wouldn't, that's dangerous. That's weird. I can't quit my job. I can't possibly ask that person out. I can't write a book. Like I'm not an author, whatever those stories are. That Judgment card is like, hey, answer the call. And then the star is like, hey, we never move. That guidance, like you said, the stars are fixed, right? Which is why we can navigate with the North Star. Before we had GPS. And if your GPS ever broke at sea, like you could navigate in theory by the big star, by the North Star. So it's like getting into the flow of your emotions, getting into the flow of your intuition, and knowing that like there's a guide, and it's always there, and it's fixed, it's stubborn, it's never moving. You're not going to lose that guide. And if you can trust it, then you are being readied for your next big evolution of yourself or your career or your life.
Dang, that's really good. I love that. I love how earlier too you said like you're absorbing and broadcasting at the same time, or you said something like that, like receiving and broadcasting at the same time, and I feel like that's coming through in that card too. Synchronicity.
Because I'm late to the party. Who's this that said I'm a Virgo? There's a link in this post that you can click to let us see your name. But if you are our Virgo, just type your name. I see we only have 2 people live with us here at the end, but if you're here and you want us to pull a card, say yes really quick in the chat and type your name just in case we can't see it. And we'll pull a card for you. We maybe have time we have 2 people here, so let's pull 2. And if somebody else shows up, maybe we'll do 3. But we do need to wrap it up. So.
This was so lovely. Thank you.
I know, so much fun.
You can only take care of someone else for so long, so we're depleted.
Sounds like Erin too. Hi, Lynn would like a card and Amanda would love one. Perfect. Thanks for sticking around, girls.
Yay! And then you get double cards.
Yes, you guys get double cards.
So fun.
All right. Go ahead, Erin. Why don't you start? And we'll start with Lynn.
Awesome.
We don't need to know your sign, but It's fun to know your sign.
I'm pulling from this deck. It's called I Am Everything. It is an affirmation deck. There's 30 cards. They're all incredible. So for you, Lynn, we have I am capable. Obstacles are only as large as I believe them to be. I can achieve anything I desire with comfort and ease. I have all the necessary tools to reach my goals. When I lead with positivity and love, helpful people show up to aid my endeavors. I am capable.
Love that card.
Dang.
You've pulled that for me before, and it always hits me straight in the heart. I'm going to read from the deck that you gifted me, the Amenti Oracle, and
Oh,
the
yes.
descriptions on these can be a little dense, so this might take just a second. And I do use the book on this one still because I'm still learning it, but it's a beautiful deck.
Yes.
This deck is based on the principles of Ma'at, which she weighed the heart at death in Egyptian mythology, I guess. She decided if your heart was pure or good enough for the good place or the bad place. That's probably a really grossly done description of her mythology. Okay, so for Lynn, this one likes to come out. Oopsie. Oh, Lynn, this is so beautiful. I am peaceful. So just looking at the card, my first impression, she's got this beautiful white dove coming off of her crown chakra, and she's got the sands hourglass. So this to me immediately speaks of, divine time, not stressing about where you are in your life or feeling behind or feeling like you have to catch up or you're running late or any of that hurriedness, and knowing that time is a man-made construct and it's very necessary, but we live both in structured time, and which is chronos time, and then the other kind of time, which is like when you lose track of time because you're having a good time. This is like, don't stress on the time. The other thing with the hourglass that's coming through for me is like the cycle of life and death. And this takes me like beyond this earthly plane. It's like you don't have to learn everything in this lifetime. You're only going to learn the things that you're meant to learn in this lifetime, and then you'll do it again and learn the next set. It's like the next chapter. If you believe in that, the next chapter is in maybe your next human form, and your evolution of your spirit, only subscribes to time while it's on this earth. So don't stress about time because it's unfolding in a perfect and divine way. And that dove at the crown chakra suggests that the divinity is at work here and that there's peace in that. Let me see what the guidebook says. I am peaceful. This one doesn't have numbers, so you have to kind of dig to find them. I am peaceful. I pull this card a lot. I could probably take my own advice with that. This is card 3. Anytime we see a 3, that's like the Holy Trinity, that manifestation, the mind, body, soul, the seed, the soil, the plant, right? What you Father, Son, Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity. What is onions, bell peppers, and celery. If you're a Cajun cook. Oh yeah, Lynn lived in New Orleans for a while, so she knows all about the Holy Trinity. Okay, so from the moment we enter this world and begin our passage through time, the sands in the hourglass of the soul begin to move. Time is the illusion of each moving past. The speed of life shifts with the pace of our awareness. With each moment, the sands of the soul descend and form a cosmic pattern, which our individual part in history manifests through creation. Did I freaking nail this card or what? Sorry. It's very tap on my spirit team back. Okay, while chaos is presented during our journey through this illusion, contrast gives the soul's story color. And if we remain at peace with each chapter, the momentum of peacefulness can bring dimension and beauty to all the passages of experience. To be at peace is to be one with what is by finding ease in all, serenity in silence, and seeking calm even in the middle of the storm. Allowing the light of your heart to shine through the darkest hours can bring the daylight of peace even during the dark night of the soul. We just talked about that. Me and Erin just talked about that. Every inhalation, every second, every minute, and every hour is a precious opportunity to ease into peacefulness before we are met with our final exhalation back into all that is. To seek peace is to be one with peacefulness. To be one with peacefulness is to appreciate every part of the particles that make up the matter of the meaningfulness that is you. A popular platitude that is often echoed in spiritual teachings is the notion that disease is caused by dis-ease. And when we are feeling dis-ease, we are unaware of the consequences of thought, immersed in regret for lost time, and anxious over our actions or inactions. When we want, wish, and worry, we forfeit our faith and lose the potential for peace with the all of it all. We cannot control the current on which time moves, but we can control how we navigate the tides through our thought, breath, and emotional responses. If an intention for anything is set in the heart, the universe will respond, and the correspondence that will be communicated back to you will follow the truth at the root of your desire. If what you will is based solely in want, you will receive exactly what you need. And what lesson you need may not feel pleasant, but there is always a lesson. If what you will is truly what you wish for, you will receive that wish in time and usually when you least expect it. But there is always a lesson. It is essential to remember the ideal of peace and that ease is not always found when we receive what we are hoping for in a material or experiential sense. Attachment creates suffering, and it is the attachment to a given result that gives us out of relationship to the harmony. That takes us out of the relationship to the harmony of creation. If every wish were granted, then where would our dreams go? What are dreams but projections of hope and reflections of the heart imprinted in the astral realm of infinite potential? Peace is ease with the dream of creativity and faith in knowing every why will be answered within the hourglass of time. So beautiful.
That's incredible. There's so many parallels to the reading that we did, like the whole time.
Thank you, Lynn. And look, Amanda says she's a moody, crabby Cancer.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Let's pull for Amanda.
All right, so one card popped out when I was shuffling. So, hi, Amanda. It says, I am focused. I'm focused. Number 11. I am focused on achieving my goals through deliberate actions. I take time to feel how it would feel to achieve my dreams. I visualize my desires through a lens of love and happiness. I am focused. Nice.
A lens of love and happiness, though.
Yes. Visualize your desires through that lens. Incredible.
So good. We had a little chat about focus in this reading, didn't we? I don't remember where it was because I put my cards away, which was not a smart choice.
I know. I did too. Focus on the light. That was one of them.
Oh yeah, focus on the light. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Focus.
Oh, this is so pretty for you, Amanda.
Yes.
I create harmony. So, loving this little alien goddess creature out in outer space, just like manipulating the planets with her mind. But also, Amanda is a musician, so she creates literal harmony. But what's beautiful about this, as I unpack this card, is the same harmony we make with our voices and with our instruments is the exact same harmony that is the language of the universe. That is that universal language of love. It can be understood across all generations, all countries, all humanity understands music. And of course, we all have our own tastes, but harmony sounds like harmony no matter where you are, and dissonance sounds like dissonance no matter where you are. And when you tap into that harmony rather than spending time in dissonance, you align yourself with the universe. You align yourself with that focusing on the harmony rather than the dissonance, and like creating the life you want for yourself in harmony. And when you're when you're acting from that place of harmony, everything just lines right up for you and it becomes less of a struggle. Let's see what the book says. Um, see if I was on the nose with this one or not.
You don't even need the book.
I like this book though. It's
I know.
so lovely to read from.
Absolutely.
Who says, I think I'm an 11 in numerology. 11 is a very spiritual number. Do you know
Yeah,
much about 11, Erin?
that's my life path number as well. 11, and then it boils down to 2. I've heard you can be called like humanities teacher. Like you are here to teach some big lessons.
I love that. And that's because the 2 is like that union with the divine, right?
Absolutely. And the
then
high
11
priestess.
is like, ooh, the high priestess is a great card.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see. What do we get? I create harmony. This will be our last card we pull for the night because we need to honor our time boundaries. But we want to just say thanks to anybody who popped in live. And if you're watching the replay, know that these messages are not bound by space and time. When you receive them, take what you get and know that it's the right time for you to receive that message. We'd love to hear from you in the comments what you took away from this, if there's anything that resonated with you. Okay, I create harmony. Oh, this is fun. Oh, yay. Okay. The Greek philosopher Pythagoras, as in the Pythagorean theorem, I think, believed in the musica universalis, or the music of the spheres. Yes. In which celestial bodies move according to mathematical equations, which produces a form of resonance or musica. If you search for the laws of harmony, you will find knowledge. That's an Egyptian proverb. If you search for the laws of harmony, you will find knowledge. Every sphere was believed to relate to a number, every number to a sound, and with their interplay, a cosmic symphony, harmoniously traveling through space, becomes a luminous metaphor, which can be understood and applied in relationship to the card I create harmony. The Hermetic principle of correspondence from the Kybalion further elucidates, this is like big words, by the way. You gave me a very intelligent tarot book for smart people. Okay, the Hermetic principle of correspondence from the Kybalion further elucidates this ideal as a way of understanding how correspondence works its way through the various planes of the mental, spiritual, and material universe and the realms of the metallic, mineral, vegetable, and animal life forces. Harmony can be found or created when we actively seek the relationship between the realms of consciousness, matter, and the mind by looking for the sustenance within each substance. It is the music of the matrix, if you will. In seeking to understand embodied cosmic consonance, there are several alchemical keys to keep in mind. Planets, organs, minerals, days of the weeks, and archetypes each have a relationship, an embodied harmony of their own. And then there's some bullet points here. The sun relates to the heart center, gold, Sunday, and infinite awareness of the truth's light. The moon relates to the brain, silver, Monday, and a keen perception of the layers of reality. Mercury relates to the lungs, Mercury, Wednesday, and authentic expression. Venus relates to the kidneys, copper, Friday, and the power of understanding and applied empathy. Mars relates to the gallbladder, iron, Tuesday, and will manifesting into action. Jupiter relates to the liver, tin, Thursday, and the capacity of creation and infinite imagination. Saturn relates to the spleen, lead, Saturday, and is a reminder that anchored wisdom is knowledge quietly embodied, not loudly articulated. As we move through each day, archetypal alchemical awareness. Archetypal alchemical awareness can be the sheet music from which our lives' lyrics emerge. The melody of the mind made manifest in this awareness offers the opportunity to relate more deeply to time and all that exists within the spaces of the terrestrial and beyond. With these keys, new doors open, and the creative will is empowered through activation and resonance. The universal music you transmit can be experienced by all. Harmony found in your very own choir of conscious cognizance. So in short, pay attention to your thoughts.
That's the TLDR.
TLDR. That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, bye. All right, everybody. That was so much fun. Erin, thank you so much. Can you tell them a little bit about your Patreon?
Absolutely. So I do have a Patreon, and it's a space where I'm creating reflection around the tarot, and it was started for people who wanted to like write or journal based on what was coming up in tarot. But I feel like it's kind of brought into just people who are interested. There's a lot of folks that are interested in learning how to read for themselves. Like they'll go out and buy a deck. And so that's kind of the direction I feel like that it's taking, where I'm just kind of unpacking the cards in the way that I see them and my strategy for reading. And there's also a tier on there where you get a monthly reading from me. It's about 20 minutes. It's an audio recording, and I just kind of try to tap into what's coming through in the cards and what I'm feeling with the vibe of what's coming up. And I've only gotten incredible feedback from those readings. There's a few people who are at that tier, and it's just such an honor to read for you. My way of reading, I feel like I like to activate clarity. I like to illuminate like blind spots that you might be seeing. And it's a good tarot reading for me feels like you're letting your friend drive the car on a road trip so that you can kind of sit back and take in the scenery and relax and yeah, explore different reflections that you might not be able to see. So if that sounds interesting to you, it's Inner Wisdom Tarot on Patreon. I think you can search for it, or patreon.com/Inner Wisdom Tarot. It should come up.
Yeah, I was humble.
I will link to it in the replay comments so that people can find it.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for your time, Erin. Thank you, everybody who tuned in live, and happy full moon. Don't forget, lay that shit on the fire. Don't carry anything past this moon that you don't need anymore. Let it go.
Absolutely. Thanks, Carissa.
See you guys soon. Thank you.